This video is going to be our beginner day 1 lesson for our Code Naturally Academy YouTube lessons. We're going to talk about some basic shapes, and I'll give you a challenge at the end, and we'll talk about where you can submit your project to be either shown on our YouTube channel or in the next week's episode. So we're going to do a short introduction. We'll sign into our accounts. We'll code together for a bit, and then I'll answer some questions. A little bit about me. My name is Mackenzie. I'm the Executive Director of Education Programs. I might have been your teacher in your class. I really enjoy teaching our Code Naturally classes. So first things, we'll sign into our accounts. We'll talk about the coordinate grid. We'll practice shapes. Make our first sketch if you're brand new here, or we'll just sketch together if you've been here before. And we'll talk about a few common error codes. We're going to work on a few skills today, mainly finding points on the coordinate grid, drawing shapes, and coloring those shapes in. All right, the first shape that we are going to talk about is the ellipse. That'll make a circle or an oval. We're going to write ellipse, E-L-L-I-P-S-E. In a set of parentheses, we'll put the X and the Y of the center. Then we'll put the width and the height. So I'm going to open up my Code Naturally app, and I'll go ahead and log in. And while I'm logging in, I'll just talk to you about what we're going to be doing. So I'll go over each shape, tell you what the code is for it, and then I'll open up a sketch and show you how to do this. If you want to take this time to pause the video and sign into your Code Naturally account so that you can go ahead and code along with me, that would be awesome. Do that now. You can pause this video and always come back to it. Just give your sketch a name, and I'm going to get started with the ellipse. So again, that is spelled E-L-L-I-P-S-E. And then in the set of parentheses, we want to give it the X location, which is the number on the top row, then the Y location, which is the number to the left. Those are our X-axis and our Y-axis. And we are going to give it the point that we want the center of our ellipse to be at. Then we'll tell it how wide to be and how tall to be. If I were to change the width and the height to be different numbers, then I have an oval. If they're the same number, then I have a proper circle. So I'm going to go back to our slides here, and we're going to talk about our next shape, which is going to be a rectangle. So for this rectangle, we're going to do it the exact same way, where we give it the X location, then the Y location, then the width, and the height. So I'm going to go ahead and write in rect, R-E-C-T, and in the parentheses, I want to give it the X and Y location of the top left corner. So my top left corner is going to be 8, 4, and I want it to be 3 wide and 3 tall. So try to use your finger to trace out on your screen where you want the top left corner to go, and make sure that you're using the numbers in the correct order. If your rectangle isn't appearing where you want it to go, it might be that you're using Y, X instead of X, Y. So for a line, we want to put in 2 different points. So we're going to have 4 numbers total, but they're going to be the X and Y location of one point and then the X and Y location of another point. So I'm going to go ahead and write in line, and I'm going to tell it where to start. I'm going to say 6, 2, and then 7, 6. A great exercise for you to do in this video is to pause your video when you see my mouse hovering over the canvas and trying to figure out what numbers I'm going to put in there. Triangle, same way as a line, but it has 3 points, so we want to give it the code for all 3 of those points. This is probably the most complicated one to do at first, so we'll work through this one together. For a triangle, I want to tell it one of the points. It doesn't matter which point, I just want to tell it one of them. So I'm going to choose 1, 5. Then I'm going to choose 0, 6. Then I'm going to choose 2, 7. And you'll notice that I'm just listing these all out. It's just 6 numbers in a row. And so if you have one of the points wrong, it will mess up the whole thing. So really pay attention to how many numbers you're putting in. That brings me to our challenge for today. We're going to be drawing a house using as many different shapes as possible. A house is a really good one to start with because you can make it super unique, and we're going to have a chance for you to submit your project so that you can show off all the hard work that you put into it, how unique you made yours. And if you haven't already, now's a time to pause this video and sign into your account. I'm going to show you a few different examples. This is a really beginner house. It just has some shapes. It looks awesome though. It doesn't really have any color added in yet, which is where we'll get into our intermediate project, where we have a tree, we have a sun, and then we have color added into it. So I'll talk to you today about how to add in a background, how to add in some color to your shapes as well towards the end of the video. Then we have an advanced house. If you have already coded with us before and you know how to go into advanced mode and use those commands, you are more than welcome to. So go ahead and just go into advanced and make a house that looks really nice like this. You can even do it in beginner mode instead of being in advanced mode. Totally up to you. So make sure you're signed into your account now. If you need a new account, go to try.codenaturally.com, or you can go to codenaturally.com and request a new account. That will take a while to actually get an account, but it's a great way for you to get a permanent account through us, and it's completely free right now. All right, so I'm going to do a little code along. I'm going to make a rectangle for my ground. That's where I like to get started. And I'm going to put it at 0, 10. I'll make it 20 wide and 20 tall. The reason that I chose 20 and 20 is just because they're really large numbers. So I know for sure that the ground will look like ground. Then I'm going to add in the base of my house on top, and I made it a little bit too tall. So I'm going to change the last number inside of the parentheses. We have our x coordinate, our y coordinate, our width, which goes from left to right, then our height, which goes from top to bottom. All right, I'm going to put another rectangle in there to make our door. So I'm going to choose to put the top left corner of my rectangle at 9, 8, and I'm going to make it 1 wide and 2 tall. So you can kind of see it's starting to look like a house. It's starting to come together. And the next thing that I'm going to want to work on is my roof. My roof is going to be a triangle shape. I'm going to start with the left corner of my rectangle, which makes it a little bit easier. I've already done the code for that one. It's 7, 6. Then I'm going to move up, and I actually want it to be right in the middle of this house, which is between two numbers. It comes right in between 9 and 10 for the x coordinate, so I'm going to put in 9.5. Then I'm going to do a 3 for the y coordinate. Then I did 11, 6 for the third point of my triangle. Wasn't quite right. No reason to completely erase that line. Just go in and fix the number that's wrong. That's a really great way to just work on your code and edit it a little bit without having to completely start over. If you want to add some color into your sketch, just write fill above whatever shape you want to be that color. Then you can go over to our color picker, choose the color you like, and paste it in there. All right, so it looks like my entire house is green now. I really just wanted the ground to be that color, but what happens is the fill command applies to everything that comes below it. So right now everything's green, so I'm going to put in another fill command on line 3 so that everything under that is the color I want my house to be. Now I want my door to be a different color, so I'm going to go in and put another fill command, and let's make our door and our roof the same color. Let's make it this nice blue color. And if you don't know how to do copy and paste on your keyboard, just Google it. There's some really easy shortcuts that you can use. If you're using a Chromebook or a Windows computer, you just do Control-C and Control-V. We're going to do a background in here. And background is the same way as fill, where you just want to add in a color command. So we're going to go over to our color picker, choose a color, press the copy button, and paste it on in there. And what's going to happen is everything gets covered up. The reason that happens is because whatever comes first happens on the screen first. So if I put the background first, it'll appear on the screen first, and then all the other shapes go on top of it. Because I did it the other way around first, it covered up everything that I had been working on. So that's how we add some color in. Check the comments below to find out how to submit your project to be considered to be shown in our YouTube video next week.